What's up, Beast Games? My name's Mark Valeriote. I'm 25 years old. I'm from Fresno, California. I'm a husband. I'm a newborn father of 7 months. I'm a personal trainer and a mentor in my community, and I want to compete for Beast Games.
Today's guest is someone who represents what it truly means to build strength from the inside out. His journey has even taken him into the spotlight through his involvement in Beast Games.
It's crazy. I mean, you're like, dude, I'm competing for $5 million, and I have all these people around me, and I'm going to be on the biggest game show in the history of the world. Before all that, I was just a kind of overweight kid who just played video games, watched YouTube and watched Twitch live streams all day. So it was 100 pull-ups, 100 dips, 100 push-ups, 100 leg raises, and 100 squats. Those 500 reps, and we did that every single day. Every single day we do that workout, 500 reps.
Who is feeling stuck, they're doubting themselves. What is one truth that they need to hear?
The only time you can fail is if you give up.
It's so true. Steve Harvey said it along the lines where if you quit, the guaranteed is it will never happen. Today's guest is someone who represents what it truly means to build strength from the inside out. Known on Instagram as Valeriotti Mark, he is a calisthenics specialist and fitness coach based in Fresno, California, who has dedicated his life to mastering bodyweight training, discipline, and performance. His journey has even taken him into the spotlight through his involvement in Beast Games, where he competed in an intense, high-stakes environment that tested not only his physical abilities, but his mental toughness at the highest level. What separates him is how he has turned his passion into purpose, using his platform to coach, inspire, and help others build not just strength, but self-belief. Through his content and training approach, he is proving that real progress is earned through consistency, not shortcuts. Today's conversation will go deeper than fitness. It will be about the mindset behind the grind, the discipline required to keep showing up, and the evolution of someone who is actively becoming stronger in every area of life. Welcome to Become the Victor, where we don't just talk about what someone went through, we talk about who they became because of it. Please welcome Mark Valeriote.
What's up, Beast Games? My name's Mark Valeriote. I'm 25 years old. I'm from Fresno, California. I'm a husband. I'm a newborn father of 7 months. I'm a personal trainer and a mentor in my community, and I want to compete for Beast Games. I think I would make an amazing competitor because, number one, I've been competing in freestyle calisthenics for over 8 years. I would probably be a hero, but then again, I guess it just depends on the circumstances. If I had to pick my favorite Beast Games challenge, it would have to be the physical challenges, because obviously I have a little bit of strength myself. What I would do with the 5 million is I would take all the strength and skills that I have acquired over the years and pass them on to the youth. Calisthenics was a thing for me that brought me out of a dark place, and I want to do the same for others. One of my goals and dreams is to have my own gym and my own youth center to help raise up other kids and other leaders in our community so that they can just go and do the butterfly effect, the snowball effect on the rest of the world.
That was one heck of an introduction, dude. I appreciate it. Bro, I'm going to have you write my website copy, bro, because that was just amazing. Bro.
I got you.
I couldn't have made a better intro than that, dude. I mean, God, I gotta go get your book now because that was very well written, bro. Oh my goodness, dude.
I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate all the effort you put into this. So.
Absolutely. I always do my diligence on all my guests, so I gotta make it great. You're the second one that had like a really, really cool a reaction like that, which is pretty cool.
Dude, that was really good, bro. Yeah, you could tell when you put the work in, bro. So
yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Well, if you want me to help with your website, please let me know. I'm notorious for building websites as well and handling copywriting. But enough about me. For anyone who is coming across who it is that you are, before Beast Games, before the spotlight, before everything, what is your story?
So I kind of started off as, I mean, when I first started calisthenics, because that's kind of where everything started for me, self-development as a whole. Started with calisthenics and fitness. Before all that, I was just a kind of overweight kid who just played video games and watched YouTube and watched Twitch live streams all day. I wanted to grow up to be a Call of Duty professional player, and I watched like guys like Nade Shot and Stumpy and Optic and FaZe Clan, and I was just all in that era. I don't know if you know about any of that, but
Oh yeah, dude, I was a beast at Call of Duty.
yeah. So like, it's funny because when some of my clients they say they play video games, I ask them if they play Call of Duty, and like I ask them the 1v1. They're like, dude, they're like, bro, I'm gonna destroy you. And I'm like, bro, you don't know, dude. I used to be fat on this game, bro. I like, bro, I want to eat a whole pizza of myself, play this game, and get dark matter camo and diamond camo on all my guns and stuff. So that's where I came from. I was just a gamer, and I still am a gamer. I got my Xbox right next to this setup, so I'd be grinding Minecraft, whenever I have time. But
Yeah.
anyway, so that's where I started. I was just kind of like an overweight gamer kid, kind of shy, didn't have as much confidence as I do now. Um, and it kind of just started off was when I saw one of my buddies, he lost a bunch of weight, and I was like, dang, how'd you lose a lot of weight? He was like 200 pounds in sixth grade. And then by the time he was in ninth grade, he was like really skinny, or not like skinny, but he had muscle. He's
Wow.
pretty lean.
Yeah.
He could run a mile in like 7 minutes or so, and I was like, dude, that's impressive, because I couldn't even run a mile in like 12 minutes. So I couldn't even run a mile without gasping for air and you know having to walk and stop and go again, and you know
Yeah.
um, it's kind of crazy too because when I was a kid, I actually had a breathing condition, and it was called like EIB, and it stood for exercise induced breathing. So anytime I'd exercise or do cardio or anything like that, uh, I got an asthma attack and I literally couldn't breathe, and I needed to get an inhaler. If I didn't have the inhaler, I couldn't like run or do things like that because I would just gas out.
Yeah.
Eventually, um, so that I think that's kind of why I didn't really decide to go crazy into sports. I never did track, never did gymnastics, never did cross country. I played soccer for a little bit. That's how I found out that I couldn't breathe that well. And then I played football sixth grade, seventh grade. Um, I remember I probably played football for 2 weeks and then I quit. And then I told my parents I just wanted to focus on my grades, but I just wanted to stay home and play games. And like I don't know. And then what else? I didn't work out eighth grade. Um my parents split up in eighth grade. In ninth grade I didn't work out. Or no, ninth grade I did volleyball. And volleyball was the first year I did volleyball. Um and the thing is I wanted to try a new sport, but I couldn't do basketball because I wasn't even at that level. I couldn't really do wrestling. I tried wrestling for a little bit and I couldn't handle the workouts. I was way too out of shape. I literally got folded like a pretzel pretty much uh within 2 days. So I kind of gave up on both of those even though those were like my first um choice. And this is kind of like one of the I wouldn't say this is a problem or an issue, but this is just something for like parents to be aware of. It's like when your kid gets into like if your kid doesn't get into sports early, later on it's going to be much harder for them to get into sports in high school because it's like if you decide as a ninth grader, hey, I want to play this sport, bro, you're going to be on the bench. You're never going to get played. It's going to be your first year. You're not going to like and that's how I felt. So I felt like I was already behind. I felt like everybody else was been doing this their sport since they were in diapers. And so I was just sitting there. I was just trying to learn. I was just trying to play a sport, whatever, be a part of a team. So I chose volleyball. Volleyball was able to make the team or whatever. I remember in volleyball, I was about 195 pounds. You know, I wasn't like obese, you know, but I just wasn't happy with my body, I guess. Um, I was able to serve the ball over the net and stuff, and uh, jump a little high somewhat. I remember there was a time when they were like, "Oh, if you can't make the serve over the net, um, you got to do 5 push-ups and 5 sit-ups." And I couldn't even do the 5 push-ups. Like I was too weak to do the 5 push-ups. The 5 sit-ups I was able to do, but that was kind of like one of the first things. I was like, dude, I'm super weak. I can't even do 5 push-ups. Like, what the heck is wrong with me? You know, I feel like most people could do 5 push-ups. So that was kind of like something that like stuck in my head. And then I got into a habit of, you know, when I would walk home from school, I'd hit 7-Eleven and I would get uh, a large monster. I would get a big bag of Takis. I would get some beef jerkies. I would get what else would I get? I'd get like some gummy ropes, like cherry ropes. You know, I'd get like a bunch of snacks, and then I'd go home. I'd watch YouTube, and I'd watch live streams, and I'd eat all the snacks to myself. And then I was just like, so I didn't have the best habits, and then I didn't really work out other than volleyball practice. So pretty much all the calories I was burning from the volleyball practice, I just ate, and it just really bad, you know. So it just wasn't good. So that was when I was 14. I didn't get into calisthenics until I was 16. When I was 16, am I yapping or am I just like?
No, no, you're good. You're good, bro. I'm very,
Because I
very
feel like you asked
fascinated
me
with.
what's your story, and I'm like, all right, well, where do I start, bro? Because there's so many points. There's so many points and pivots. Like
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
started calisthenics when I was 16. Um, I'm gonna try and make it short so you can
No,
kind of
no,
like
you're good. The deeper the story, the better. It's all you, bro.
okay. So when I was 16, um, what's it called? Keep in mind, I grew up Catholic,
Okay.
but I wasn't really following God at this time. You know, I was just kind of doing my own thing. I was just be a good person, you know, just do my thing, whatever. Uh, I got into calisthenics when I was 16, May of 2016. I was 16 years old. Uh, so I'm actually coming up on 10 years of working out in
Wow.
May. So that's a big milestone. Anyways, I started going to the gym. My buddy, who lost all that weight. Um, I went to a local gym called GB3. You probably know because you're from Fresno. So
Yeah.
I went to GB3, and you know my routine was very simple. You know, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. You know, I just walk in, do the ab machine. I do 3 sets of 50 crunches on the ab machine because I didn't know what else to do, and then I did, you know, a little um, cable row machine, and then I did a leg press, and then I did some. I walked in the treadmill and then went in the sauna. You know, that was like my routine or whatever. It didn't really hit much because I was going like maybe uh what's it called, like every other day. I would try to do every other day, and then I would probably stay consistent for 2 weeks, and then I'd fall off, and then I wouldn't do anything for like a month or 2 months. Then I'd go back and try to do it again, and then I'd fall off. You know, so it wasn't until May 2016 I started going to the gym with my friend, and I was like, all right, bro, I'll just do whatever you do, and then you help me. I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions, and then he just kind of gave me tips and things that he did, and I just kind of went along with that. Um, so anyone who's getting into fitness, you need to have a workout partner. You know, because it's like at first you're not gonna be able to keep yourself accountable. You either need a workout partner, or you got to hire a coach. You got to have someone to keep you accountable. So that's number one. Um, and then so I started. I remember I started working out with him, and he would do. Uh, he was telling me about Bar Brothers. So that was kind of the first like calisthenics I watched or I seen was it was called Bar Brothers. So that was the first time I've seen muscle ups or skills or pull ups or L sits or handstands or whatever the skill is. Um, Bar Brothers, you could find them on YouTube. It's like an old school, uh, like workout brotherhood. I thought it was the whole concept was pretty cool. You use your own body weight to work out, and these guys were had insane physiques, and so I was like, dude, this is some real stuff. So I was like, well, my new goal is I want to be able to do a bunch of push-ups and I want to be able to do as many pull-ups as I can. Like I want to be able to just walk up in the gym and just sit there and do pull-ups, just bang them out, make them look easy, do a bunch of them, you know. Uh, so that was one of my main goals. Another inspiration was from Dragon Ball Z. You ever watch Dragon Ball Z, Victor?
No, I seen bits and pieces of it, but I never like fully got into it, dude. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I got into it when I was like 12, and
Okay.
so there's clips in Dragon Ball Z of like Goku and Vegeta, where's the main
Oh yeah.
characters, and they're always training, right? So there's one clip where like Vegeta's in this thing called the gravity chamber, and like the gravity is like multiplied, and he's doing like one arm push-ups or one finger one arm push-ups, or they're in this thing called the hyperbolic time chamber, and they're doing handstand push-ups and they're doing like all these crazy calisthenic workouts. And at the time I was like, "Oh, that looks cool." I didn't when you watch anime workouts, you don't think like, "Oh, I can do that too." Like you don't think that, you
Yeah.
just think like, "Oh, it's just a show." Like, it's not possible, you're just, it's just a concept, but a thought kind of popped into my head was as I started getting into calisthenics, like, what if I could actually do that? Like, what if I was that guy that was at the gym and I was doing these crazy workouts and, people would just walk in and they'll just lift some weights and then they just look over and this dude just banging out handstand push ups and like all this stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, just think that would be so fun. Like, that would be so cool to just trip people out. Um, and then so, but I'm like, okay, how do I get from where I'm at to that? And so I just like you said, you just take it one step at a time. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So
Yeah.
you just take it day by day. And then there was a quote Muhammad Ali said, and it's don't count the days, make the days count.
Hmm.
And that is so true because if you count the days, you're gonna be like, oh, yeah, I went to the gym today. Oh, day two. I'm at the gym for the second day, and you're just counting all the days. You know, it kind of you kind of make that number of how many days streak you have. You kind of make that like the goal. You kind of put that on a pedestal instead of like really pushing yourself in the gym.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, but
It's about like enjoying the process pretty much. You're not focused too much on the end result.
yeah, well, it's like you know, because like before, right? I was like going every other day, and it never stuck. And when you really make the days count, if you're going like a good example is the 75 hard. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. My
So
friend actually just did it.
yes, the 75 hard is an amazing example. Okay, so if you take just an average gym goer and they're just counting the days and they're just going to the gym every day, they're like, oh, I'm consistent. Well, it's like, okay, and then you got a guy who's doing 75 hard. Okay. That it's two workouts a day. One has to be indoor, one has to be outdoor, 45 minutes each. You got to do a diet. You got to read 10 pages a day. You got to take a you got to take a progress pick a day. You got to stick to a meal plan, right? You do all those things every single day for 75 days straight, right? That is like making the days count, okay? Once you're done with 75 days of that, that feels like a year. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, dude, I've only been doing this for 75 days. It literally feels like 6 months I've been doing this.
Yeah.
And you've only been doing it for 75 days. So when I first really started training, I was literally training every single day, and I was really grinding. Like, I'm not just saying, like, a lot of guys are like, oh, I'm really about that grind. I'm all about that grind. It's like, so this was kind of, once I really started getting into the gym, we started doing this workout because we met this guy who did calisthenics, and he even um, further pushed the bar. So first I saw YouTube, Bar Brothers, whatever. Then I met this guy that was at the gym, and we saw him doing muscle ups, handstands, L-sit pull ups. He was doing all this stuff. And I went up to him. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, this crazy workouts. You're the most shredded dude here. You're obviously the strongest dude, one of the most strongest dudes here, because no one else in this gym can do what you're doing. Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? He's like, oh, this calisthenics. It's all body weight exercises. And so when we all kind of started training together at that time. Once we started training together at that time, we started doing this workout called the hundreds. And so it was 100 pull-ups, 100 dips, 100 push-ups, 100 leg raises, and 100 squats. So it was 500 reps, and we did that every single day. So every single day we do that workout, 500 reps. And I remember first time I did it, it probably took me 3 hours to do it. And then after that, some days after that workout, we'd go into the pool area and we'd do core. We'd do like 100 reps of core, front core, and then we'd do 100 reps each side of obliques. And then we'd go into the sauna. And so that's what we were doing, like just about every day. We kept that up for about 2 months or so straight. So, I mean, 2 months is a long time when you're doing that. That's like 75 hard as it is, you know. And so, what else? So from May 2016 to, what was it, May, June, July, August, I think September, I unlocked my muscle up.
Yeah.
So from May, September 2016, I was doing muscle ups already. And when I first started, I was only able to do about maybe two pull-ups, and my pull-ups were like this. They weren't, when you do a pull-up, you want to go lock out, chin over the bar, like clean, and I was only able to go like this, like 2 or 3 times. So I went from that to muscle up in like 3 or 4 months, which is absurd because like some of the clients I'll train, they'll be like, sometimes it'll take, 6 months to a year to get their muscle up, maybe even 2 years. It just depends on the person. It honestly comes down to how bad the person wants it. At the end of the day, I could give you all the gems you want, but if you don't put it into practice and you don't do the work and you don't really want it, you're not going to get it.
Right.
There's a saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, this routine and this lifestyle of going to the gym every single day and doing a hard workout like the hundreds workout, that was like severely ingrained into my mind of like what a hard workout really is. It's like a lot of guys, they'll start going to the gym, and as long as you go to the gym, I mean, it's good just to go there and to be in the environment, working out. Everyone's trying to better themselves, like, that's good, right? But if you want to be great, you got to raise that bar. You really have to like if you want to do things that no one else has done, you got to do things that no one else does.
Right.
So you really got to do something different. But like for guys, a lot of guys will go in first, like, they'll do 3 sets of 12 reps on the bench press, and then they'll go to the next workout, 3 sets of 12. For a beginner, that's a crazy hard workout. Like, you can not destroy, but you can stimulate your muscles a lot by doing 3 sets of 12 of, X amount of exercises. You get 3 to 5 exercises. You do 3 sets of 12 reps of each exercise. It's a good workout. Like, you know, even for a beginner or even someone who's moderately strong. Um, if you're someone who's advanced, you want those to be like super heavy sets. But anyways,
What do
uh,
you think what do you think created that mental shift to go from, like you said, gaming in the bedroom, eating incredibly unhealthy, to now like you at the age of 16 getting into calisthenics? Like what do you think created that mental shift? I know you talked about how you seen somebody else doing it, you seen anime do it. So you kind of had that inspiration, but where do you think that mental shift came from where you're like, okay, I'm going to try to not so much attempt it, but I'm really going to take this seriously?
okay, so there's a couple things here. So like one of the things was I remember I was in middle school, or so I was like 8th grade or ninth grade. And we went to like this mall. We went to the mall, and I remember like it was like one of the first times like try to go up to a girl and ask her for a number, and I was like so scared. And then like I actually ended up getting her number, and I was like I really liked this girl or whatever, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I was like texting her, and then she ended up asking for my friend's number.
Damn.
And so I like, and it was like after weeks, like 2 weeks, she asked for my friend's number, and that was the friend that got like super lean, and so he got super in shape, and once he lost a lot of weight, he was a lot better looking than me because he was way leaner, so his jawline was popping more, my face was like that. So uh so that didn't like create resentment or anything, like, but I just got hurt. I was just like, dang, like, you know uh that
It
was
had
one of
like the feel for you.
yeah, that was like one of the things where I was like, damn, bro, like I gotta, I don't know. And then so that was one instance. Another instance, I looked at myself um in the mirror, like right before I there was like I was gonna go get in the shower, and right before I got in the shower, I like looked at myself in the mirror, and I was just like, dude, like I just wasn't happy with myself, like I had some jiggle right here, and um like I just didn't like how my body looked. And then my face was all greasy, and my hair, like I had the headset hair where you like wear the headset and your
Oh
hair
yeah.
has like, you know what I mean? So
Yep.
I had the headset hair, and I was just like, dude, like I wasn't happy with myself, and like all of my friends just played video games. Like I wanted to have a friend group where we can go do stuff. Like I wanted to go do stuff like in real life. Like I didn't like I mean playing video games is fun, it's cool, but I was like I wanted to go out and like I'm not the type of guy to go party, number one. So that's
Yeah.
not what I mean, but I'm just like, dude, let's go to the movies, let's go bowling, let's go play pool, or like let's go do something. Like I don't want to play video games all the time. Um and so that was another reason. And then um what else? I was gonna say something else. Uh
What do you think like helped you navigate that mental barrier? Like was it, I know you talked about the girl situation and that ignited the fuel, but what do you like, was there something that you kind of looked forward to kind of help you break through that mental barrier, or like, oh, I'm gonna get her best
Oh,
friend, I'm gonna get
oh,
another
this is
girl or
another
whatever?
reason. Yeah, yeah. So there was another part where, um, you know, when I played team sports is cool. If you have a good team, it's good. But the thing is your team is only as good as your weakest link, and sometimes you can't control that. Like you know, it's like even if you put in a bunch of work, you got Joe over here, and he ain't putting any work in, you know. And I'm not gonna say that I was putting in all the work when I was on a team, because I wasn't, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of team sports, like I just didn't really like the vibe of team sports. Like I didn't like having to try and keep up with everybody else. I just what I liked about doing calisthenics and going to the gym and just working on myself is I could work at my own pace, and that's something that I like about it was I could just go to the gym and I could just do my reps. I could focus on my pull-ups and push-ups and I could just stay there as long as it takes me to finish and I'll just finish. You get what I'm saying? Well, when you're at practice, at football practice or whatever practice you're at, you're standing in lines and you're doing the drill and you line back up and then you do the drill and you line back up and you're waiting for like all this time. It's like how much work are you actually getting in? How many calories are you actually burning? How you are you actually getting stronger? Like I didn't understand any of this. Like no one was really telling me how to actually get stronger or faster or better or lose weight or get abs. Like no one was telling me this. And so when I started doing that, um, what's it called? When I started doing an individual sport, it was a lot easier for me mentally to focus on it because it was just me. Like I'm only as good as I am. Like you only get out what I put in. And so that's what I liked about that. And but yeah.
Wow. So when did like I want to touch into your calisthenics journey. When did you start competing? Like when did you feel suitable to begin competing?
My first competition was 2017. So I was training for about like a year and a half, I believe, and I competed in 2017. So it was crazy. So I started going to the gym with my friend and then the other guys, and his name was Jake. And Jake, he was the guy who kind of had us do the hundreds workout. He taught me my first muscle up. He helped me start training for my handstand. So he was a big reason for a lot of my progress and a lot of my initial success in calisthenics. And we're still boys to this day, you know, and it's crazy. But I never would have thought that we would still be friends this long. Um, from just like that one gym interaction. But anyway, so Jake, it was me, it was my buddy Gabe, and then Jake. And so Jake, uh, so we would train as like a trio. We would go to the gym, we'd train, and then once we all started getting pretty strong, we all had a couple of muscle ups. Like we had 3 to 5 muscle ups in a row. We started training like clap pull ups and clap dips or clap push ups, or we try to do like the typewriter pull ups or the bicycles and like things like that. And then we started doing like back clap pull ups or whatever. And then so we started going to a gymnastics gym on Fridays and Saturdays sometimes, so that we can work on like flips and we can work on skills. So there's like strength based moves, then there's like skills. So skills that involve somewhat of flips or it's twisting and turning or whatever you're trying to do. And you could see that in my videos. Um, it's not just strength, it's like, you have to do dynamic moves too. So there's like pullovers, skin the cats, you know, front hip circles, kip ups, flyaways. There's 360s. There's back flips and front flips, and there's all these different moves. Basket catch, like bar stand up. So like all these extra moves that are kind of scary to learn. We would go to the gymnastics gym and we would learn it there because they had a bunch of mats and they had like bouncy bars that flexed. And so that's where I learned my first backflip. That's where I learned a lot of my initial moves. Like I learned my first 360 there. And so we would all just go there and start training the freestyle moves. Once we started going there a couple times, we ran into a group called the Bar Gorillas, and they were like a calisthenics team that was a central calisthenics team, and they went and did they traveled to schools and did demonstration for schools, and they would do competitions, and they would travel to LA and Venice Beach, and they would compete there. So once we met them that night, they invited us to their gym the next day, and we went there the next day on Saturday, and we were just like what's it called? We went to their gym that next Saturday. I met the owner. I met some more of the members, and I saw the gym, and it was like a Ninja Warrior parkour calisthenics gym.
That's so
I
cool.
was like, dude, this gym is so sick. Like, I want to train here every day. Once I started training with them, like I was like pretty high level in calisthenics, and then I met them, and they're like up here,
Yeah,
like they're like
they had the bar higher.
they're past the bar, dude. Like there was guys doing handstands on bars that are 10 feet in the air, like,
Wow.
you know, and there's guys like doing these like just crazy stuff. I guess they're doing similar stuff to what I do now, or things that you see me post,
Yeah.
but this is like me as like I never seen any of that really before, or maybe I seen it on YouTube a couple times or Instagram, but I actually met a team that actually did it, and so I started training with them, and then, you know, those days were so awesome because, you know, we would go to that gym uh I don't know, like 2 to 3 times a week, and then we would train at GB3 sometimes too still, and then we would go to the gymnastics gym on the weekends. So we would have a couple different spots of training, uh you know, and training with the bar gorillas and all of them. You know, they were the ones who really helped me become who I am today. Or at least like they taught me the skills. You know, they taught me, you know, the handstands, the 360s, the mixed grips, and the muscle ups, and the handstands, and the levers, the front levers, the, you know, the planches, you know, and all these moves. A lot of that came from just all the whole team. You know, it was one of those environments where everybody, each one teach one. Everyone was good at their own thing, you know. So we had a guy who was good at Ninja Warrior. We had a guy who was good at parkour. We had a guy who was good at flipping and tricking. There was a guy who was good at breakdancing. There was a guy who was good at static holds. There was a guy who was just good at dynamics. Like, and there was a dude who was like hecka big, who was like a bodybuilder type. So like everyone had their own thing, and everyone taught each other different things, you know.
That's
And
so cool.
so it was just like one of those things that, like, one guy's better at a handstand than another guy. Another guy's better at the front lever than someone else, you know. And so we would always like teach each other stuff, and then we'd battle each other, and then we would also roast each other. So like I'd be like, "Hey, Steve, like, where's your push-up game at? You know, where's your one-arm push-up back clap, whatever?" And he'd be like, "Oh, well, where's your front lever? Where's your 360?" He's like, "All right then." You know, so we'd always like, you know, roast each other back and forth. And um like I remember my mom used to tell me, she's like, you know, you are who you hang around with. So, you know, they say like the top 5 people that you hang around with the most, you're gonna be like them.
Yeah.
And so I started hanging around with these people because this is what I really wanted to do. Like this was like so cool to me. You know, I'm like, dude, this is something that I can get good at, and I can literally do it anywhere. You know, it makes my body healthy. Um, you know, it's fun, you know, it's uh there's just like so many benefits to it, you know.
Yeah. Did
And
did you
then
ever feel I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't even answer the question because you were asking about competing. So
Yeah.
my competition, uh my first competition, they I went with the Bar Gorillas, and so we drove up to San Jose. And my first competition, I remember training for I was training for it, but I didn't know if I was going to do it or not. And then I think it was like 2 months prior, I decided to commit to it and sign up. And then when I signed up, I was like, oh my God, like I'm not ready. Like, I wanted to get ready. I wanted to really I just wanted to get ready. I wanted to get ready. But you'll never really feel ultimately ready for a competition. It's just like there's always going to be something that you wish you had or that you wish you could do better. But at the end of the day, it's just a battle against yourself, and you're just like, you're trying to be better than you were at the last comp. You're trying to be better than you were previously. So my first competition, I lost the first round. Like I lost the first round, but I did everything I wanted to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was like 3 rounds. So like I was like, okay, I want to do a swing 360. I want to do a muscle up 360. I want to do a back lever. I want to do, I want to do these things. And I did all the things I wanted to do. And I thought I won, but I lost. I ended up losing. But at the end of it, like I lost, but I still won. You
You
get what I'm
didn't win
saying?
you didn't win the competition, but you won the confidence to continue.
Yeah, like I won. I was able to put it all out there and give it my all.
Yeah.
And I gained, like I learned a lot, and I like I felt like I won because I did something that I was scared to do, you
Right.
know. And so that's like, if anyone wants to try a fitness competition, I highly recommend it. I think it's really good to do, especially to like dedicate yourself to it. But you got to just do it. You just jump both feet in, do it. Like, you're not going to be the best on your first one, but just commit to one and then try to do better than you were on the last one. So
Right. Yeah. Legends are not born; they're created. So you got to put in those steps. You got to earn it.
that part, I was just telling one of my students today, I was like, dude, he was trying to learn a pullover. Or no, he was trying to learn a front flip, like on the bar.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, there was a time when I wasn't able to do this. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, bro, what you think I came out the womb able to do this? Like, no, bro. Like, there's like everybody that that is great or that can do cool stuff.
Yeah.
There was a time when they weren't able to do it. And there was a time where they were scared of it. There was a time when they had to rep it out over and over and over again. There's a time when they had to practice and get it right. Like, there's like people who you see that are doing insane stuff have either been doing it forever or like, well, even if you've been doing it forever, there's always a time where you start, you
Right.
know, and so that's the part. Like, you might not have it yet, but that doesn't mean that you'll never have it.
Absolutely.
You can't count yourself out. Like, you just got to go for it and just
Yeah.
keep going at it. Like, that's how anything is attained. So
Right. It's so true. You can't don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10.
no, yeah, and then something else is like, something I learned is, everybody is different. Everyone progresses at their own levels and at their own times. Like, there's some of my friends who've unlocked things like this, like first try, second try, they just get it, and then like those same moves took me maybe 3 months, 6 months, even a year to get, and it took them like 2 weeks, or you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but then there's things that I got that took them a year to get or 6 months to get, and so it's like everyone's different. Everyone's got their own things.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so that was like how I got into competing. That was 2017. And then once I did that first competition, I just kept entering competitions. Like, I probably did at least like two to six comp maybe 2 to 6 competitions a year
Wow.
for like uh probably 5 6 years straight.
Wow.
So I was just so used to doing comp after comp after comp, and I was just training for competitions. Like, I was just training to be better. Every single day I needed to be better.
Dude, that was so cool. What was like one of your most highlighted moments competing? Like especially only you know what it took for you to get to where it is you are, and only you know what it took for you to like go through the compete, you know? Only you know what it took to get there.
The most highlighted moment,
Yeah.
it was probably winning this belt right here, this little belt.
Wow.
So the reason why that was a highlight was because at the time that was 2020. No, yeah, that was 2020. Um, that was a very important time because at that time I was super busy. I was coaching like 20 classes a week of coaching kids. And then I was also coaching like, I don't know, 10 clients, maybe 10, 15 clients or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I was I actually organized the competition. So I was the one setting it up. I made the logo, I made the flyers, I got the sponsors, I got the judges, I hit up all the athletes, I made the t-shirt designs, I had the t-shirts printed. I uh I sponsored it with I sponsored it with my brand. I made a new drop for my brand. At the time I was promoting it to my clients, promoting it to the classes, coming up with the rulings, the system of how the battles were going to go. Um, you know, I made it so the people who went against each other, I made it random because I wanted to compete in it too, but I wanted to make it fair for everyone. So I randomized it, put everyone's a name in a hat, and I drew the names out of a hat on a live stream as to who
Wow.
was going to go against each other.
That's smart.
And then
That's so cool.
I organized, it was a 16-man battle. Uh we had about 40 something athletes because we had a 16-man battle, we had a 8 women tournament, and then we had a 2v2 tournament. So, and that was like 4 teams. So we had what, 4 times 2 was 8 plus 16. There was 32 athletes. So it
Wow.
was like 32 athletes, 3 judges, and uh I had to get a guy for the mic. Like, dude, it was like the whole thing. Like, I got I had to make banners made. You know, like when I organize a comp, like, I do it big, bro. So, um, we had, out of the 16 people that was there, we had a guy from Ecuador, we had a guy from Canada, we had a guy from Tennessee, Minnesota, uh, I think, San Diego, San Francisco. We had a couple guys from here. We had a guy from Venice, a couple guys from Venice, LA. You know, we had a bunch of athletes come out. New York, you know.
That's so cool.
And so that was a crazy moment for me because I ended up winning the whole thing.
That's tight.
And so I didn't think I was gonna win. I just wanted to compete, and I've trained really hard for it.
Yeah.
And
Did you
yeah,
design the belt yourself?
yeah, I designed the belt. You know, I made the logo. You can't really see the logo, but
That's sick, dude.
this parallel actually. So that's the logo. That's actually me on the
Oh, that's
logo.
cool.
And it was called Playground Wars because the gym was called Playground Training Academy.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was just crazy. It was just cool. And then my mom was there too. Um, my mom and dad. I don't. My mom actually saw me win the belt, and then yeah, that was cool. That was one of the most memorable moments. So
Yeah.
that was 2020, and it was during COVID.
Oh, that's tight, dude. That's even more
So
of like a bigger highlight.
yeah, because at the time no one was organizing competitions, and I was like, man, I want to compete, bro. Like no one's organizing comps. I was like, screw it, bro. I'm gonna organize one myself.
Yeah.
And so I was do it myself, bro. I'm not gonna wait for anyone. Like, if no one wants to throw a comp, I'll throw one and make everyone to come to me. You know.
That's cool. And you pulled it off too, which is really, really cool.
I had some help of my friend who he was the one who did the t-shirts and he did the banners. Um, but like, at the end of the day, I had to organize everything. I had to make sure like, it's a lot of follow up, bro. Doing like organizing an event like to that extent. We had a lot of people there, bro. It's probably like at least 150 people.
That's a big crowd.
Yeah.
Dude,
Um,
that is so, so cool. But before we get into Beast Games, I want to talk about your entrepreneurial journey. What initially made you want to start a business, or did it kind of just happen?
I just didn't want to dig holes anymore, bro.
Yeah.
So right after high school, I didn't go to college. I remember my mom wanted me to go to college so bad. My dad didn't really care. He just like I mean he did just because like my stepmom wanted me to go to college and then my mom wanted me to go to college. So he was just like, either you go to college or you go to military or you get a job. As long as you do one of those three things, like I don't care.
Hmm.
But when I told my mom, I'm like, I'm not gonna go to college. Like I just don't want to do it. There's no reason for us to get into debt, pay all this money. I don't even know what I want to do in college. Like, I know I want to do training. I want to do calisthenics. She's like, I heard she told her, she's like, calisthenics is not a career job. Like, you're not gonna go anywhere doing calisthenics.
Hmm.
And at the time, she didn't mean it. Like, she just wanted what's best for me. That's what moms do,
Right.
because I mean,
She
yeah,
just
like,
wanted you to do something. She didn't want you to end up doing nothing later in life.
yeah.
So
So
her heart was in the right place, but too, you also had to empathize her point of view.
yeah, so I remember she told me that, and I was just like kind of hurt when she told me that because I was like, damn, like she don't believe in me.
Yeah.
And so I went to the gym that day and I just grinded so hard, bro. Like I was just like, I put so much effort. I was like, dude, I'm gonna make this happen. Like it was like one of those things where you have no plan B. Like you just burn the boats type deal. Like I just went all in on calisthenics. Um, so like, uh, so I was 17. I got a summer job. My mom was a manager for a pool construction company, and so she was able to get me a job as a laborer. So I was doing construction for a pool company in Fresno, and I would dig trenches. We would build waterfalls. Like with real rocks, like super heavy freaking rocks. I'd clean out trailers and um, I'd help the plumbing guys with stuff if they needed help. We'd, you know, load and unload trailers or whatever. I'd help the concrete guys sometimes. So it was definitely some tough work for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, they'd be like, all right, you see this patch of concrete, like break it up. They'd hand you a jackhammer. All right, break this concrete out, and put it in that trailer. And then after that, then go grade this whole yard. And then after that, like, dig this trench from this side all the way to that side. And I'm just like, oh, dude. So in Fresno, it's like 108-degree weather or something,
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, so I did that over the summer, uh, in between my junior and senior year. After I graduated, I went back to that job and worked there for another like 8 to 10 months. Uh, what happened was I wanted to be a personal trainer. I wanted to do calisthenics. I wanted to be a trainer. I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to travel the world and do it. And what happened was, um, also during that time of me working that job, Um, I made $12 an hour, so I made like $400 a week. And then, I remember I was living with my mom. My mom said I had to pay my car insurance and I had to pay my gas. I had to pay my cell phone, and then I didn't pay rent though, but I had to pay like those three bills. When I was working, I'd get groceries every now and then help my mom out that way.
Yeah.
So I was blessed to have a roof over my head,
Right.
Um, but at the end of the day, I had to make the my money to pay those bills, and then anything extra like competitions, like I would pay for the flight or I'd pay for the gas to get down to Venice or vice versa. So that's how that went. Uh, and so, anyways, um, oh, during that time of me working at the pool job, I was working maybe 50 something hour weeks. So 10 like 8 to 12 hour days depending on the day. Most of the time I was working 10-hour days pretty much Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday. So I'd work 7 a.m. till about 4 or 5 p.m. As soon as I got off work, I'd drive 25 minutes to my mom's house. I'd get dressed, get in my gym clothes. I'd drive 25 minutes back to the gym, to the calisthenics gym. I'd train uh, swing on the bars, dynamics. I'd train planche, front lever, whatever. I'd train reps. I'd do core, 4 hour training. And then I would drive back from the gym, like 25 minutes back to my house, and then eat food, whatever. I'd go to bed at like 11 at night, and I do the whole thing. That was my routine for like 8 to 10 months after I graduated high school.
Wow.
Um, and then what happened was why I quit. I ended up just not working. I ended up quitting the job. Well, not quitting, but I fractured my ankle in three places. From something stupid in calisthenics, like literally, like I went up on the bar, I did a trick, I grabbed the bar, and then I just jumped off the bar, and then my foot got caught in between two mats, and I fractured my ankle. And I was just like,
Damn.
dude, my ankle's all swollen, discolored, and stuff, whatever. Um, so once I did that, I couldn't work. So I was just like, dude, I can't work. So, um, what happened was, uh, I fractured my ankle, and then like a couple weeks later, I broke my nose.
Wow.
So within a couple weeks, I got two injuries that, you know, and then when in 2017, I also broke my arm. I broke my ulna
Damn.
clean. So I now had three injuries from calisthenics, and my mom, my dad, all my family told me I need to stop doing it because I'm getting jacked up. Stop. Why are you doing this to your body? You don't need to be working out that much. Like it's no point. You're just getting injured. You're just jacking yourself up. You need to get a real job, which I was digging holes. So I was like, I don't know what that means, but uh, yeah. So that's why I stopped doing the construction job. But during that time, I think I was taking unemployment or something. Um, and so while I was getting unemployment, I well that there's a whole another gap. This is like 2018,
Okay.
what I'm talking about. So that was 2020. This is 2018. So this is before that.
I gotcha.
So um yeah, because you're asking about entrepreneurship, right? So this is
Right.
the journey, right? So uh yeah, so 2018 broke my ankle, broke my nose. I still competed like 6 to 8 weeks after, and that was like my first pro debut, which that was a whole other challenge in itself. We can get into that later, but um, After that, I didn't start actually training people and tapering up my clientele until 2019 to 2020. So what happened was I went from working a construction job, I got unemployment for a little bit, competed, and then I worked for Verizon. And then I worked for Verizon a couple months, and then I went to Ecuador in 2019, and then I won that trophy. Um, and I was in Ecuador for about a month and a half. After Ecuador, I competed in Mexico at a competition called No Gravity Wars. That competition, those guys were so good, bro. I didn't even. I think I qualified, but I lost my first battle. So yeah, I didn't win that one. But those guys are those guys are really good, bro. Like it was just a whole different level. I just need to get better. So yeah, once I came back from Mexico, it was 2019. Uh, um, oh, once I came back from Mexico, I was super broke. So I had like I don't know $60 in my account.
Yeah.
I got a job at Costco within 7 days of me being back. As soon as I
Nice.
got back, I put out like 7 different job applications to different places, and I got a call back from Costco. I worked at Costco for 30 days. Um, at this time, also, I was talking to my wife, who was just a girl I was talking to at the time,
Yeah.
and we were talking back and forth for like 4 months. Um, got a job at Costco for 30 days. They ended up cutting me from Costco because I did a handstand on the shopping carts. Um,
That's funny.
yeah. So after that, um, I got cut from my job at Costco. So I was like super hyped. I was like, oh, I can go train at the gym. I get more time to train because I was getting ready for a really big competition in San Jose, and it was a qualifier for Dubai,
Wow.
for like a competition in Dubai, and that was like that competition meant everything to me. Um, so yeah, so when I got cut from my job, I was actually kind of happy because I had more time to train. But 2 days later, after I got cut from my job, I injured my shoulder, and I like tore my shoulder pretty much. Like,
Damn.
so I went from doing being the strongest I ever was, like doing incredible things, to I couldn't even do a plank. Like I couldn't even hold my water bottle like this. That's how jacked up my shoulder was.
Wow.
So when that happened, I was at a fork in the road, and it was either, you know, believe in yourself or whatever. And uh, I didn't know God at this time either. So it was either believe in yourself and do calisthenics and just keep the faith, I guess, or just go another path and just go get an office job or something. I don't know, just do something.
Yeah.
And I chose to just keep going. And so I kept, I had to rest. This injury took me out for 10 months. So
Mhm.
I couldn't do anything, bro. I just did arm circles, and I thought I couldn't do anything. Thought I wasn't going to be able to do it for the rest of my life. Like, it was really crazy. I thought my girlfriend or whatever, the chick I was talking to, was going to stop talking to me
That's horrible.
because I was like,
Dang.
I just lost my job, and I felt like a superhero. I lost all my powers,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, like I felt like, I don't know, I was like on top of the world, and I just fell. So,
You
but
felt
she's
like you lost like everything.
I felt like I lost everything. So and we were long distance too. And so I was like, I don't blame her if she does stops talking to me. I was just mentally ready for her to stop talking to me. And
Mhm.
so she kind of just stuck it out with me, and was like, no, like you'll be better. You're gonna be back. You're gonna be stronger. You're gonna be able to do all these things. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I went on disability, and when I went on disability, like, I hope the IRS. I'm just like, so I went on disability. I started picking up classes and stuff at the gym, the calisthenics gym.
Okay.
There was a calisthenic parkour Ninja Warrior gym. It was called the Playground Training Academy. I started picking up classes to help them because they had a growing um, calisthenics program, and they wanted me to coach calisthenics, and I was like, that's like a dream job. So I started with 2 classes per week, and I did them for I I started with one, and I did it for free. I went to 2, and I just did it for free.
Yeah.
And then I they paid me $10 a class, so I got paid $20 a week to train there,
Yeah.
to train kids. And
A,
then
a quick like disclaimer in case they're watching is it's not physical effort, it's just he's just vocalizing his teachings. Let's just leave it at that.
wait, what?
I said because you're like if the IRS watches, right? Because you're on like disability. I was like, quick little disclaimer. I was like, if they're watching it, it wasn't any physical labor. It was all just vocalization of teaching.
Yeah, what he said. So like I think the way disability works is like you can like accept money
Yeah.
according to your past job, and you only get like a percentage of it, and then eventually it like runs out. So that I had like a 6 month window where I was injured when my shoulder wasn't working,
Yeah.
right? So I was kind of like teaching with one arm pretty much, like, so I was trying to coach kids push-ups and pull-ups with one arm. Like, yeah, I was like, well, I can't show you a push-up because my arm doesn't work. Like
Yeah.
my shoulder is completely just wrecked. Like, I can't do anything with my arm. So
Yeah.
I was like, it was just funny because I was like trying to do everything with one arm. Anyway, so it was in that moment where I was like, I'm gonna try and pick up personal training clients. I'm gonna make my personal training brand. I'm gonna make business cards. I'm gonna hand out business cards. I'm gonna pick up clients here. Um, I just like really focused everything into that. I was like, I'm gonna organize a calisthenics competition. So that was the first year I organized my calisthenics competition called Playground Wars. Um, and then I picked up a couple clients here and there, PT clients, and then I picked up some classes at the gym. So I was coaching 2 classes a week. That was $20 a week. So I had $80 a month, and then I think I got like $240 from my first client for like 12 sessions or something.
Wow.
And then and then what else? So I had a couple clients. And
Yeah.
then and so that 6 months, once the disability ran out, I built it up to where I was able to like pay my bills, and since then I never had a job.
Dude, that is so cool.
It's like
So that,
since that moment, like since Costco was my last job,
yeah.
like my last real job. Like I haven't had a job since 2019.
Yeah. Do you see the world as your playground?
I do, yeah, I do. That
Yeah.
was actually the slogan for the Playground Training Academy.
That's tight.
It was "The world is your playground."
The world
Like
is your playground.
I'll be running around, or not running around. I'll be driving a car, like looking over at a playground, or like, oh, I could do a handstand on that. Oh, I could do a muscle up off that. Oh, I could do this. And so
Yeah.
it's just you look at the world in a whole new lens.
Yeah, absolutely. I seen a movie with is it parkour or something like that?
Parkour.
Yeah, parkour and like how their mindset kind of shifts where they see the world as their playground. So when you
Yeah,
were talking about what it is you do, it's more so about your Costco experience. I was like, I wonder if you've used the world in the same context.
yeah. No, well, I did the handstand on the shopping cart because like we were all done with work. Like it was nighttime. All the carts, because I was a cart guy. Like I went and grabbed the carts and brought them back to Costco, like in front.
Yeah.
All the carts were lined up in front of the thing. All the carts were locked up. you know what I'm saying? Like we were just waiting for the managers to come to the front, and we were just standing there for like 15, 20 minutes. And we're just like, dude, where are these guys at? You know, so we weren't even doing anything. We had nothing to do. So I was like, I'm just gonna do a handstand because why not? Like, so I grabbed the 2 bars. I did a handstand. One of the guys gave me a fist bump. He's like, dude, that was tight. I was like, oh, thanks. So I don't know. I was just being stupid, I guess. But yeah, they ended up cutting me, fired me. Um, and
Wow.
then I remember when I lost that job, my mom got so mad at me. She's like, "You lost the best job. That job was the best thing that's happened to you. You know, you had all these benefits." And
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like it's whatever. Like, the benefit, it's nothing crazy on the benefits. Like, I still pay my insurance. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, yeah. So, anyways, like, um, so when I tapered off of the disability or whatever,
Hmm.
I had some clients, and then I got a raise. So from training training classes for $10 a class, they bumped me up to 15, and then they bumped me up to 20, and then they bumped me up to 25, and then I eventually had gotten like $30 a class, and then I was coaching like 24 classes a week, and then I upped my prices a little bit for personal training, and then that was over a course of like 3 years, you know. So because our program was growing at the gym, and we were just had all kinds of stuff going on. We would do demos at schools and stuff, and then the gym ended up closing down around 2022. So I've been coaching at Doc's gym now for January 2023 till now. And
Dude, that's
so
that is so cool. I'm very
so
curious, when you compete, what do you exactly compete for?
like what's the prize?
Yeah, like what's the prize? Like, is it more opportunities? Like, I mean, you don't, if it's money, I mean, you don't have to give money figures. I'm just genuinely curious, like, what are you after essentially?
So when I first started competing, I just competed just because it was fun.
Okay.
Um I mean, like, obviously, so calisthenics was like, it's still a new sport. Like, it's still very new.
Okay.
So or the sport of freestyle calisthenics is very new. Um at in 2016 it was like really new. I think the first competition was like 2012 maybe, or 2013 or 14, but there was no money really on the line until like 2015, I think. You know, and then but there was only money on the line for like the really big competitions, and even in the really big competitions, even nowadays, like the grand prize is like $1,000.
Hmm.
So it's like, I mean, 1,000 is 1,000, but at the same time, it's like, bro, the amount of hours you have to put in to do this, and to and then to try and beat everybody, bro. Like, you have to be the best in the freaking world at this for $1,000. Like, none of these guys are doing it for the money. I mean,
Yeah.
you get paid more based off of the credibility it gives you. You get what I'm saying? So I was really only doing it for the credibility. Um,
Do you gain like sponsorships as well, or no? Is it anything like that?
Um, yeah, but it depends on how many followers you have. Like, at the end of the day, it's views and followers. Um, I this is so the Instagram I have now, it has like 700 followers, but on the last one I had like 30 something. I had like 30,000,
Wow.
but my Instagram decided to delete my account. So, you
Damn.
know, like any in I had on sponsorships, like it's just cooked. Like, can't.
Yeah.
But like, I think the most I've won from a competition was like $800,
Wow.
and then the second amount was like 500, and then but there's guys who you can win like two grand at some of them, or 1,500, but it doesn't really go over that. I think the most anyone has won from calisthenics was maybe 5 or 10 grand, but that's like uncommon. That's like I think there might have been one like that uh in like 15 years of competitions
Hmm.
around the world, around the entire world. So, you know, you don't really compete for money. I was really competing because I wanted to, it was a motivation for myself. It was a way for me to get out there and make connections. Um, it was a way for me to gain credibility, you know, uh, and I knew that like if I'm gonna do calisthenics and I want to be a trainer and I want to train people to do calisthenics, I need to be good at calisthenics. Like no one's gonna care. Oh, you went to college and got a degree. Oh, you got these certifications. Like no, it's like, bro, can you do this? Can you do what I want to do?
Yeah.
If not, then how are you gonna teach me how to do it if you can't do it?
Right.
So that's kind of what I was going after. Now at this point I do have a couple certifications under my belt, and so those definitely help my whole training philosophy too. So as a coach, I'm always learning. There's never no one really ever knows it all at
Right.
the end of the day. So uh
That is so so true. Now that
yeah.
now that we're like on the topic of money is, and then I also want to talk about your spiritual journey because I know you wanted to touch on that as well.
Yes,
Is
absolutely.
if now that we're on the topic of money, is now you are competing for $5 million for Beast Games. How did all of that transpire?
I saw Instagram story Mr. Beast posted on his Instagram. I actually followed Mr. Beast when he had like I don't know 50,000 subs.
Yeah.
Like I subbed to his channel when he was making uh worst intros on YouTube.
Yeah.
Uh you remember that?
Oh, dude, I'm like one of the OG followers, so I like seeing him during his entire come up. So when he gave his mom the check, when he was giving the homeless man $10,000 in the middle of the in the
Dude,
in the
yeah.
intersection, you know?
Yeah, so I started following him and subscribing when he was making the worst intros on YouTube series. That
Yeah,
was like the funniest thing, bro. So, I don't know, I just used to watch cringe content like that. But
yeah,
anyways, I've been following him for quite a while, and I saw that he posted on his story. He's like, we're filming or we're casting for season 2 of Beast Games, and we're looking for the strongest people in the world, and we're looking for the smartest people in the world. And if you feel like you fit that criteria, then go ahead and click this link and fill out an application. I was like, well, I think I'm one of the strongest people in the world. I'm
yeah,
like, I definitely can show it. And so I just filled out my stuff, and I remember like some of the questions were like, um, what's your max bench? What's your max deadlift? I'm like, oh, dude, these are good questions right here. It was like, how many pull-ups can you do? How many push-ups can you do? I'm like, oh, dude, I'm in. I'm a shoe in. There's no way I'm not getting on here.
yeah,
Um, I just remember because the first season had 1,000 people, so I was assuming there was gonna be 1,000 people. So I was like, dude, I'm a shoe in. There's no way that I'm not gonna make it on this show,
right,
because I just felt like I had so many things like that could capture your attention. Like even in the video that I submitted, I flip and I landed, and then I instantly said who I am and stuff, and I had like a cut off tank, so I had to make sure I'm like showing my muscles,
yeah,
and then I was like talking to the camera, and I was doing a walk up handstand press as I was talking to the camera in my
that's
audition
so cool.
video. So um yeah, like I was like, there's no way they're not gonna pick me. And
Yeah,
so there was a couple questions too that said, which one are you willing to do? And it was like get buried alive. Or it was like, which one of these are you willing to do for $1 million? It was like skydive, free fall 100 feet, get buried alive, jump off of a moving train, and it was like or no, climb on top of a moving train or something, and then it was like climb a building or something. Like it was just like a bunch of crazy stunts.
Yeah.
And I remember I just checked all the boxes. Like I was like, dude, there's I'm like I'm not gonna say no to any of these for it's $1 million, bro. Like what do you mean?
Right.
So yeah, there was like questions like, oh, what would you sacrifice your best friend for? Like how like or how much money would you sacrifice or eliminate your best friend for? How much money would you self eliminate for? It was like in the red cube game, what would you have done differently and why? Or what would you ask for in the cube game? So this is like a bunch of different questions. So I filled out all the questions and then I think like 5 to 8 hours later, I instantly got an email back. And then they wanted a Zoom interview. And so I remember like rushing over to my house to do the Zoom interview.
Yeah.
It was like 15-minute Zoom interview. After that, they sent you another email. You have to submit more videos. So I had to submit a video of me doing max pull-ups in 1 minute, max push-ups in 1 minute. I had to demonstrate my leg strength. I had to step on a scale and I had to flex on camera. I'm like, dude, these are all of the best things that I can do, bro. Like literally, like there's no way they're not picking me, So
Yeah.
I just had so much confidence going into it.
That was so cool. Was that
And,
experience like anything you imagined it would be?
dude, that was like one of the most insane experiences I've ever had in my entire life. Like,
Yeah, I bet.
not even like that. Like, it was like there's no other show that you can go on where you can have the same experience
Yeah.
because of just how great. Like, first off, like the amount of like hospitality that all like the workers have for the
Contestants?
contestants is
Yeah.
crazy. Like if you need something, like they got you. You know, they made sure they had people that are tracking people's meds and their uh like everyone's got their special needs or whatever.
Yeah.
They made sure your needs were met and yeah, I mean it was really cool. Everyone's super cool. Everyone's super nice. Like when you get there, um, they take your phone and everything, and they sit you down in this lobby at the South Point Hotel. And we were there for, bro. I was there for like 3 4 hours, and no one can talk to anyone. It was on like they were like, "Oh, you're on hard ice. You can't talk to anyone."
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, like we're in this room with all these people and all of us are tripping right now because we're just like, dude, it's finally happening, we're all excited, and they're like, oh, you can't talk to anyone. We're like, oh well, you know I'm just gonna kick myself in the nuts then or something, like I don't know, like so
Yeah.
you're there for like 3 hours going through all these things and then they get you finally to the hotel. And then when you walk into their hotel, you have like a big case of water there, and you have like a whole basket of all these snacks. And then you on the table, they have like coloring books and like activity books and all this stuff. And then there was the TV, and then obviously there's a Bible in the drawer. So I was like, I had a Bible,
That's cool.
and then there was notepads and I had a pen. So I was like writing Bible verses down. And then I was doing push-ups like in the hotel room, so I was still getting a workout in. And then like I remember I got the case of water and I shoved it in my luggage and I was doing curls with it and I was doing presses and I was doing push-ups and I was like doing lunges back and forth in my hotel room because they just put you in the hotel room and they're like, okay, we'll get you when we get you, and you're just like, what? So you're in there for some time. You're waiting a long time. But once you're out of it and you're like on set, it's crazy. I mean, you're like, dude, I'm competing for $5 million, and I
Yeah.
have all these people around me, and I'm gonna be on the biggest game show in the history of the world,
Right.
and there's all these cameras everywhere, and you got your mic'd up, everyone looks like Power Rangers, they got, you know, and what I really liked was they had sleeveless jerseys, so I was like able to show off my muscles. I was like, dude, if they have sleeveless jerseys, like it's game over, bro. Like it's gonna be tight.
Dude, that is so cool. I seen now when you guys got there, because I heard in the very beginning, I read Corey's book. So in the very beginning, I heard like everything is kind of like very hush hush, and the reason why they didn't want nobody to speak is just because they didn't want anyone to kind of form alliances too early or start talking like, hey, if you do me favors, I'm gonna help you throughout the competition. That's why they kind of like the hush hush. And but when you've finally gone through, essentially you finally stepped foot onto the city, what was like that moment like for you?
Dude, that was insane, bro. Like, well, before we went to the city, we went and saw Mr. Beast's studio.
Wow.
Did they tell you that?
No.
So we went from Vegas and they chartered the jet. So everyone we had our own jet. And like everyone thought that we were getting private jets and stuff. We were like, "Oh, we're going to fly private." Like what? Like it's just so crazy. It's like you're going on a vacation, you literally have to do nothing.
Wow.
Usually when you go on a vacation, you got to worry about the flights and the hotel and the check-in time and the checkout and what are we going to eat and what are we going to do. This was like a vacation that you didn't have to worry about. All expenses paid, and all you have to do is just sit there and have fun and just enjoy the moment. Like
That was so cool, dude.
it's just like that, like bro, like that's the best experience ever. So like once we landed in North Carolina, uh well, I think as soon as we landed in North Carolina, we took like a charter bus, and then we went to Mr. Beast's studio so that we can eat because they always made sure we had 3 meals a day, or like I think 4 meals a day. Like we were eating a lot, bro. Like we had 4 meals a day, and it was all like healthy food pretty much.
Right.
But they fed us lunch in Mr. Beast Studios, so we saw like the subscriber count with the the plaques, gold, and all these crazy plaques, and
Oh,
all
it's tight.
the world records, and all the fan art that they get, and just like this giant briefcase with like prop money in it, and like we just saw like all this stuff, and it was just like insane. So we went there, and then after we went there, we got into these buses, the charter buses, and when we got into the charter buses, um, there was what is it called? There was like tarp covering all the windows, so no one could see out of any of the windows. Um, so like the thing about when you compete in beast games, they keep everything a secret. Like everything is a secret.
Yeah.
Like you don't know anything. You don't know what the next challenge is gonna be. You don't know where you're gonna be. You know what you're gonna be doing. You don't know who you're gonna be doing it with. So everyone's just plotting the whole time. Everyone's just like trying to scheme up things. But anyways, we pull up to B City in these charter buses, and they got tarp all over the place. We get out, and it's just a bunch of trees everywhere. And so they're walking us down like into a forest pretty much. It's like super dark. It's at nighttime. We're walking into this dark forest, and then we see the entrance, and we're like right in front of the entrance, and everyone's just like, bro, and you could see like um there's a bunch of fog like behind it, so you can't really see behind it, but you can just tell like it's lit up, like that it's
That's
about to be dope, like you know
that is
and
so
then
cool, dude.
they let us in the city, and when we ran through that city, bro, it was like Christmas. It was like you're a little kid on Christmas. I was just running around. I was like, oh my God, And then I was just like, oh, it's the Feastables Cafe. And they were like, oh, look at these pools. They were like, oh, look at and then I saw like this giant Feastables bar, and I was holding the Feastables bar over my head. Did you see that picture?
Uh-uh.
So
It's on your page? I'll have to check it out.
there's a picture on Instagram. I'm holding this massive Feastables bar over my head, and I'm like shoulder pressing it, and then Klitz, the guy who's like in charge of the cameras, he's like, "Hey, give me a camera on this guy. Give me a camera on this guy." Like it was so funny. And then
That's
Mr. Beast
cool.
came up to me. He's like, you know, there's a gym over there, right? And I was just like, and I like threw the bar and I like ran off to go to the gym. And then there was like basketball courts and like people were like instantly just having fun, like running around, you know, trying to dunk the basketball. And then I saw they had like bars and stuff out there, and I saw they had like barbells and they had drinks and dude. And then the dorms too. The dorms were sick, bro. Like, dude, I miss it, bro. It was so fun. That was like the funnest experience ever. Oh my god.
What was like one of your we're getting towards the end of the episode here. What is like one of your favorite moments being there?
Um, there's uh one of them was there's this guy named Rahel on the smart team,
Okay.
and he was in the gym, and he wanted to bench press 135, and he ended up bench pressing 135. So it's a 45-pound bar with a 45-pound plate on each side. And Rahel was like really skinny, like he's really thin, and he was on the smart team. And so he ended up bench pressing it. He was like, ah, right. And so he got this bench press down. And we're like, Rahel's on the strong team now, you know? And so he was like rolling his sleeves all the way up, like, yeah, I'm on a strong team. And we had a whole ceremony, bro, where we benighted him with a barbell, you know?
That's so
We
cool.
benighted him onto the strong team. It was the funniest thing ever, bro. And it was like everyone was there,
Yeah.
and we had like, you know, there's like a flower girl or whatever. One of the ladies, I think it was Jessie, one of the girls, she was throwing what was she throwing, bro? She was throwing like uh
Confetti maybe?
she was throwing oh my goodness, I forget what she was throwing, but she was just like throwing like
I throwing something to represent like the rose petals pretty much.
yeah, it wasn't rose petals though. It was like it wasn't feastable bars. Oh, she was throwing the so they gave us these Jack Link's uh meat sticks.
Yeah.
She was throwing the meat sticks, bro.
Oh, that's cool.
So she threw the meat sticks down the aisle, and then Rahel walked down the aisle, like one of the guys like escorted him. And then me and Mitch were standing there with the barbells, and we like went like this, the barbells went like that. And then they like closed behind them. And then
That's
like
cool.
he like kneeled down, and then like one of the main guys like benighted him onto the strong. It was so funny. It was so funny.
That's
Uh,
really cool, dude.
yeah,
I want to touch on your spiritual journey now. Is you said you're a man of God, and I seen you even do something with like a Christ walk or something like that. Can you talk to us about what that is?
yeah. So I started following God, or I started getting more into my faith in 2020. Um, man, I don't want to make this any longer than it needs to be, but yeah. So in 2020, like, you know, I was smoking weed a lot. I would smoke vapes. I would take like magic mushrooms every now and then. Um, you know, uh lusting and cursing and um doing all these things. I mean, I don't know. I'm just like I'm getting into new age stuff, practices and whatever, seeking spirituality. I'm like trying to open my third eye and stuff, like just doing like, things like that.
Yeah.
And it was my boxing coach or whatever, and he kind of led me to the Lord. And so I ended up reading the Bible, and a lot of things that I read out of the Bible like really kind of hit home for me, and they made a lot of sense. My boxing coach is like 70 something years old. He's lived a lot of life and he's seen a lot of things, and he's just sharing a lot of experiences with me from his past and his journey. And he's also achieved a lot in his life, and so that kind of inspired me. That I'm like, well, if I have God in my life, then maybe I can have the same success as him. So it was like how I found God, or how I started following Christ, was it was kind of selfish. Like, I was like, oh, you know what? Like if I get close with God, I'm gonna be that much better at calisthenics, and I'm gonna win more competitions and stuff. So it was kind of selfish. Like when I first try to pursue God, and then you start to know God for who He really is, and um and what He's done for you, and all these things. And then it kind of turns into something else, and you just kind of, and I'm just like, dang, like, you just feel thankful, and you want to get close to God and do whatever you can to make sure you're like, like you're living, like you do whatever you can, not because you're scared of going to hell, but you do everything you can to please God. And also, God has a perfect will for our life. And anytime that, like, the more we sin and the more we mess up and indulge in things that we shouldn't be doing, the more we live outside of that will that God has for our life. And so it's like, you can't expect, you can't expect all these things to go right in your life if you're like living in sin, you
Mhm.
know? Like if you're living in sin, and you expect all these things to happen, like how is it going to happen? You can't receive something if you don't first let go of what you already have in your hand. And so uh yeah, so I accepted Christ as my savior in 2020, and then now 2026. Yeah, dude, best decision ever. That Christ walk, it was called the Climb for Christ. I just did that because one of the people that train at my gym, they asked me to fill in for them to be the cross bearer, to carry the cross up the hill, and they're gonna have like an event, and it was like a fundraiser for a run club. It's called the FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And so I was able to participate in that. Uh so some people might say or think it's like blasphemous, but it's really, I mean, it's like no one's saying, like, no one's saying they're Christ. There's just it's just a way to, like, in the Bible it says pick up your cross, and you got to carry your cross, bro. So it's just a physical representation of carrying your cross.
Right.
And so as long as you see it from that view, then it's a good thing. So
Absolutely. No,
that's
I
kind of
was,
what that
I,
event was.
and I know what photo you're talking about. That was a very, very nice photo.
It's a
So,
cool photo, and I like the picture because when people come across my page, I want them to know that I'm a follower of Christ.
yeah,
Like I want, uh like sometimes it kind of is, like sometimes it's good if someone doesn't know, because then they can kind of be more real with you.
right,
If someone knows like you follow Christ or whatever, like they might act differently or something.
yeah.
And I kind of like when people are more real with me, and they don't like act a certain way. Uh, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. It's very true. It's essentially, whether it's spirituality or politics or whatever your beliefs are, once you announce or vocalize your beliefs, right? Instantly people completely lose the chance of opportunity getting to know the person just because your beliefs are different. They're not the same. Nobody, it's all about, okay, you don't believe in what I believe in, so I'm not even going to take a chance to maybe have you as my friend, right?
I think it depends on the person too,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. 100%.
but because not everybody's like that, but some people like, you know, just be like, oh, this guy's a hypocrite, or it's like I don't know,
Yeah.
but like people, a lot of people like that are hurting themselves. Not like hurting themselves, but like they are hurting, and I guess their way of taking it out on people, or their way of, I guess, not wanting to talk about their struggles is like just by pushing away
Yeah.
like
And
someone who wants to
and
help, you
and
know?
some people just have had bad experiences with religious or
And
spiritual
that too.
people, and that plays
Absolutely,
a
yeah.
significant factor.
Absolutely, yeah. And so that's another thing too, is like, people see that you're a Christian, they think you're gonna, you know, thump them over the head with the Bible. This should be like, bam, but like, wait,
Yeah.
it's not like that, bro. It's just, um, I mean, the second commandment that Jesus said is to love people as yourself.
Right.
Love God with your mind, body, soul, and spirit, right? And then love people as you love yourself.
Right.
And and
That's greatly said.
and you follow those two things, and that's it. You're not weren't no one's saved because of their own work. We're saved because it's a free gift that God gives to us. We're saved by grace through faith, and not by works, unless anyone should boast. And that's what religion is. Religion is when someone thinks that they're saved because of what they do. But it's not about what you do, it's about what he did on the cross, you
Yeah.
know. And you got the people who are like, oh well, if you're saved, it we're saved by grace. Does that mean that we shall no longer do works? Or what's that verse, dude? You know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
Where it's like, oh, you're saved by grace. So does that mean that we should continue in sin? It says, of course not, And so obviously the goal is not to just continue to live in sin, right? It's like, we have to have reverence for God.
Isn't it
Like
like
if you,
saved by grace through faith or something like that? I know
yeah, it
what you
says
mean.
we're saved by grace through faith and not by works,
Yeah.
and it says, unless anyone should boast. What happens if people, oh, I listen to Christian music, and you listen to rap music, or oh, I do this and you do that, I pray this many times a day. It's like, well, then you're getting into religiosity or whatever it's called. You're
Mhm.
getting into the works aspect. You're like thinking that you're saved because you do all these works, and it's simply you just put your faith in Christ. But it's like, obviously there should be a sign that you're putting your faith in Christ, right? It's like if you walk in a field of landmines, and someone says, hey, there's a landmine right in front of you, and you continue to just walk and step on it, well then you're probably going to blow up. But if someone tells you, hey bro, there's a landmine in front of you, and you choose to walk around the landmine, well then you're gonna help, like, not get blown up.
Yeah.
If we choose to continue living in sin, then how does that show God that we revere him, that we respect him and love him, and cherish what he done for us? There's a difference between uh living in sin and struggling with sin.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So if someone's, oh well, I'm just a sinner and God loves me because I'm just a sinner. Well, it's like, well, that's not what the Bible says. The Bible says you're saved. he made us righteous. You know, we're seen as righteous through the eyes of God. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we should be, you know, every day try to get better, you know? Let's try to get better, you know? Let's try
Yeah,
to and it's by the grace of God that we can get better.
absolutely. And I always say too, like a little bit, I mean, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but I said sometimes some people have a hard time building a connection with God just because of bad experiences of religious or so-called spiritual people, right?
Right.
But the truth is that Jesus himself actually had bad experiences with religious people, right? To the point
They
where,
hung him on the
yeah,
cross, bro.
they crucified him. You know what I mean?
They hung him on the
So
cross.
you shouldn't let that limit your decision to seek higher, seek healthier, seek better. And
Yeah.
I think building a like Jesus saved my life in the year 2020, but you know, I am a firm believer that whether it's Jesus or a higher power, that if you can build a when you're going navigating one of the hardest seasons of your life and you can build upon your faith and not pull away from God, you know, that is like a test. That's a test to your faith. And eventually, if you really, really say, okay, God, I don't understand why it is I'm going through what it is I'm going through, but if you help me through what it is I'm going through, you know, your test ultimately becomes your greatest testimony.
Yeah, pretty much. And then like your testimony can help others go through their own struggles, their journey.
Absolutely. And it
Uh
becomes like a big impact. I always view people as a candle, as a candlestick. So like if you can keep your candle lit, right, then you can help ignite another candle, and then they help another, and then another, and another, and it becomes like a worldwide impact.
right. Well, it's like when one of my favorite chapters in the Bible is John 15.
Mhm,
Yeah, John 15 says um if if um if you are in Christ and Christ is in you, then you shall bear much fruit, right?
mhm,
And so um when a tree bears fruit, the fruit can fall into the ground and it can help feed people, you know? So the tree can provide shade to people, it could feed people. And then what happens is the fruit also has seeds. So you can eat the fruit and then you can take one of those seeds and you go plant another tree. You know,
yeah,
so it's like how many other trees can you plant with that much? And it says you shall bear much fruit. It doesn't just say you shall bear fruit, it says you shall bear much fruit.
yeah,
And so there's a lot of I think John 15 sums up a lot in just that one chapter, you know. So um but
yeah.
yeah.
It's very, very profound, and I didn't know we were going on like 2 hours. So we're
I
getting to
told you, I told you, bro. I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, there's no way we're gonna fit it in 45 minutes. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm down. I'll talk. Like, you know.
No, I really, really appreciate you, brother. I appreciate your time and doing this with me. Again, I genuinely appreciate it. That I ask all of my guests this is right before the rapid fire questions. I have this one last question for you. Is what is a question you wish more people asked you, but they don't? I don't know if that's a good laugh or if you're like,
Oh, I don't know.
it's very thought provoking.
What's a question I wish people asked me, but they don't?
Yeah.
Um,
He's definitely a thinker. That's why I love the question.
I guess honestly, like, uh, I guess I would say, uh, a question I wish most people would ask me is how.
Oh, like how you do what you do, or
like anything. I mean, how do I do what I do? How do I do this? How do I do that? How they can do it themselves, because that question can always lead to, God's goodness.
That's a very, very great answer because that one question can open many doors.
Yeah, like you can go anywhere on that one question.
Yeah.
And also the question of how um is important. Like it, a lot of people say just automatically they tell themselves they can't, and so they never ask the question. They just automatically believe that they can't. But
Right.
once you start wondering, hey, how can I do that? Then that opens up an entire journey of things, right? Like when I first started calisthenics, I didn't like I hey, yeah, he walks up with that guy. Hey, bro, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing this? Hey, bro, how did you lose weight? Hey, dude, how did you build that business? Hey, bro, I see you're really happy, you're peaceful. How's this going? How did you do that? Dude, the like if more people asked how, not only is not only can I kind of share a little bit about it, but it's more of like what happens before that question. Because if someone asks the question how, then that means that they're ready to receive, you
Yeah.
know? A lot of people like are like, I'll get clients or something, or I'll like there'll be a parent and they're like, hey, can you coach my kid? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, I want them to lose weight or I want them to do this. Okay. And the kid comes, but he never really asks me questions. He's not really like, oh, how did you do this? How did you do that? What did you do to do this? So if he's not asking me questions, then that just means like I mean, it depends on the type of questioning. If
Right.
I'm like, all right, I want you to do this, this, and then this, right? Oh, why do I have to do that? I don't want those questions. I want, okay, yes, coach. Oh, how did you do this? Like that's what I want.
Yeah.
So um it yeah, that's my answer is I wish more people asked me how,
That's a
because
great answer. And I'm sorry, go
because
ahead.
then that means that they're actually motivated. They're like, and they believe that they can do it.
Yeah. It shows genuine interest.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dude, I really, really like your response on that. I was curious what your response was going to be.
But
I'm curious because every answer is different and is very thought provoking for everyone. That's why I like the question.
mhm,
Now, let me know when you're ready for the rapid fire questions. Some of them aren't so rapid fire, but it kind of keeps the audience engaged and intrigued.
I'm ready.
Okay, so there's 7 questions. The first one is, growing up, what was something you went through that forced you to grow up faster than most people around you?
um I don't know, probably being the youngest maybe in my family.
If I asked your younger self who you were becoming, would he believe the man sitting here today?
No.
What was the moment where you realized, I don't want average, I want more out of my life?
um when I was 16, when I started calisthenics.
What built you more, your wins or the moments where you felt like quitting but didn't?
What builds me more, wins or when I felt like quitting?
Yeah.
I would say the wins built me up.
When things got hard, what kept you disciplined when motivation wasn't there?
I always told myself a quote, and it's if you never give up, it's impossible to fail.
I never heard of that, but that's a really, really great philosophy. If you stepped into Beast Games, high pressure, high stakes, you stepped into Beast Games, high pressure, high stakes, what did that experience reveal about you that you didn't know before?
I don't know how to balance rocks on a scale.
Okay, wait. What does that mean? I'm genuinely curious because you're laughing about
Did
it.
you watch? Did you watch the episodes?
Yeah, but it's been a minute, so like my
I
memory's
got out on the second episodes in the game of balance.
in the game balance. Okay, I'm gonna have to rewatch it then because now I did see all of them, but it's been I don't know what like 2 months, 3 months, something like that.
Okay. The question was, what do I wish I could have told myself, or what did I expect?
It says you stepped into Beast Games, high pressure, high stakes. Or what did that experience reveal about you that you didn't quite know before?
Um, I don't really know if it revealed anything about me. I think. I mean, uh, I don't know.
Maybe like mental endurance, physical stamina, uh,
Um,
sleepless nights. You can last longer than 48 hours or something.
no, dude, that the experience was just fun. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, something that revealed about me that I didn't know. I don't know. That's a hard question.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really revealed anything about me that I didn't already know.
Yeah. I got you.
Um, yeah.
Okay. The last question. If someone watching this feels stuck, doubting themselves right now, what is the one truth they need to hear to create their breakthrough moment?
Wait, one more time.
If someone is watching this who is feeling stuck, they're doubting themselves, what is one truth that they need to hear?
That quote that I just said, where if you never fail, it's impossible to get, if you never give up, it's impossible to fail. The only time you can fail is if you give up.
Yeah, it's
If you
so
just
true.
stop trying.
Yeah, it's so
That's
true.
a 100% certainty that you will never do what you're trying to do,
Yeah,
and you'll never get there is by just giving up and
yeah,
stop trying.
it's so true. Steve Harvey said it along the lines where the guarantee, if you quit, the guaranteed is it will never happen.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy. I love the way how you said it too. So now, so Mark, brother, I want you to let the audience know anything and everything you want them to know about you. Link your socials, projects, anything and everything you want them to know, and also everything he mentions will be listed within the description as well.
Yeah, I mean, most of you guys can follow me on Instagram at Valeriotti.mark. Um, if you are in Fresno or Central Valley, I'm a personal trainer. I have a couple classes. We do a mentorship program at Doc's Gym, 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. For kids 12 to 18. It's a free class. Um, uh, if you want online coaching, you can message me and fill out a form in my bio. If you have any questions for me, uh, send me a direct message. I'd love to answer anyone's questions. Um, and yeah, if you want to give me a follow and see some cool content, go ahead. You got any calisthenics questions? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Dude, that is so cool. And really quick too, can I use some of your Instagram footage for when I edit this episode?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate it, brother.
And
Now,
if you need any content, because there's a lot of content that's not on my Instagram since it's a new
yeah.
one. If
Okay.
you need any certain content, or you're like, hey, do you have a picture of this or a thing of that, then just let me know and I can send it to you.
Since you mentioned it, I'm gonna if asking you shall receive kind of thing. Since you mentioned it, what would be the chances if I get your Mr. Beast audition footage?
100% chance.
That'd be sick. Cause like I really haven't came across someone else like doing that, so that'd be like really cool.
Let me see. Let me. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you right now.
Dude, that is sick.
I just need a wait. Um, you're gonna have to text me your phone number or something, and then I could text
All
it to you.
right, I'm gonna do the outro and then I'll tell you my number.
All right, all right, all right.
All right. So everyone, for the audience listening at home, When did you feel less alone while tuning into today's episode? This is Become the Victor, where we turn trials into triumph. And again, we have Mark Valeriotti. Valeriotti. I keep messing up on his last name.
Valeriotti.
Valeriotti joining us today. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And as always, remember, grow through what you go through. Much love.